Hi, my name's Scott Patterson and I'm from Sumo Outdoor, and today I'm going to show you a pizza recipe using a fairly traditional method, something, you know, purists may argue that is not a real traditional Italian pizza, but it's something that I do all the time. I cook at home, and we've also got the luxury of the beautiful Fuego wood-fired oven built into one of our walls of flame here at the AS Landscape Show Garden. So without further ado, let's put it together. First off, we're going to put together our pizza dough. And this is a little secret here, which I like to do. And pizza dough is really best made a couple of days in advance, 48 hours normally. But last night I put together this. This is something called a poolish. And this is just 300 grams of either 00 pizza flour or strong bread flour, mixed in with 300 mils of water, 5 grams of yeast, 5 grams of sugar, and then just whip it up in a little tub like this, and leave it out for an hour. Then after that hour, pop it in the fridge overnight, and you will get this kind of weird, wobbly goop kind of substance. But this is now our little cheat to get a pizza dough ready in a short space of time. We want to cook some in a couple of hours' time, so we're going to bring it on to the next stage. So once you've got that, we need to get another bowl or pan. Like I say, this is not traditional. This is just me doing a quick shortcut. And we want to put into this pan, we want to put in 700 millilitres of water. But I'm going to make a smaller batch, so I'm probably going to do a little less today because there's only a few of us eating. But normally you do 700 mils with 1.2 kilograms of flour. We're just going to mix it in with some olive oil, and then we're also going to put in some salt, and we're going to melt in the poolish together in this bowl. So first stage, I'm going to go and get some water over here. I'm going to have to go and get a couple of bits.
It's over here.
I'll get my salt and olive oil. And flour. These are Hayden's lunch boxes, which are great for cooking. Right, I'm ready to go, I think. Okay, so the next stage, as mentioned, we're going to melt this poolish mixture that we made last night into some water. It was the full recipe is 700 mils, but I'm only making a small batch, so I'm just going to do half with this recipe. So we've got around about 400 millilitres of water, and we're going to put in some salt, about 25 grams of salt. I'm just eyeballing it. We're going to mix that in. Stir that around, and then I'm going to start adding half of this poolish mixture into that. It's lovely and gooey. Look at that, lush. Okay, and then I'm just going to mix it and melt it into the water, and it will start to sort of dissolve. I don't know if you can see into the bowl there. We just kind of it looks like it's turning into milk or cream. Oh, and I just splashed it everywhere. So we're just melting the poolish mixture into the water. And then the next stage is we're just going to start adding the other ingredients, really, until we get a kind of raggedy, loose, wet ball of dough. And I'm just going to show you what we can do next. So we've already put in our salt. I'm just going to add some olive oil. Mix that in as well. That olive oil also helps stop it sticking to your hands and to work surfaces as well, so it's quite important. When I first started making pizza doughs, never used to put much oil in, and it used to be an absolute nightmare to work, so the olive oil really does help. Now, like I say, just going to start adding our flour until we get a ball of mixture created, and you don't have to be really worried about it being super smooth at this stage. It's going to look really ragged and rough and quite wet and sticky, and you want that. Pizza dough needs to have a good level of water in it for it to puff up. So we're just going to keep mixing and adding until we've got a nice dough forming. That's really getting kind of claggy and snap the thing. So you know that's a good time to bring it out of the mixture. So when it starts getting really stiff, you snap everything, get it onto the work surface, out, as is. Some more flour on it. When it gets to this stage and kind of everything's nearly starting to pick everything up off the surface, we're almost there. Just want to leave it, pop a lid on top, and just leave that for 15 minutes. So there's no hard and fast rules to this, but the poolish really helps this. This is already fermented quite a lot overnight. Like I say, when we made that poolish, we put it in the fridge yesterday. That's done a lot of the hard work, and that's what's going to create this really puffy, fluffy dough. You can see that's really transformed now. It's starting to go really elastic. Right, that's looking pretty good to me at this stage. Then we're going to leave it to prove for about an hour, and then it should rise up, and then we're going to knock it back, make our dough balls, and let them prove for another hour, I'd say. Earlier on, we made our dough, and I just showed you my quick version of making a quick pizza dough. We used a poolish from the night before, and now we're at the stage we've proved our dough, put it out on the counter, it's been resting for a little bit, and now we're going to actually start making the pizzas. So we're going to start forming our dough, making our pizza base, and we're going to top it and put it in the wood-fired oven. So first step, lots of flour on your work surface. Move that out of the way, throw it everywhere, make a mess. That's what I'm really good at. And we get one of our doughs here. Like I say, I'm not a pro pizza chef maker, but hey ho. Okay, so our dough's been resting, it's been proving for a couple of hours, and now we're just going to form it. Now we just sort of push it down. We want to flip it over. We want to keep these sort of crusts thick because we want that nice puffy crust. Turn it back over, and then this is like the DJ method. Just stretching, turn, pull. I'm not one of these flashy ones that can do the flashy Italian spin it in the air. But just take your time. You can knead it on the back of your hands and do it that way, but I freak out. And looks like there's quite a lot of flour on here, so we just want to maybe get rid of some of that. Just keep working it. Like I say, I'm no pro at this. This is just having a go. But this has worked well for me. You can form the crust a bit out. As you see, we get a nice thin dough. You can see lots of little bubbles in there where that yeast has been working away, creating the bubbles, and hopefully this will come out nice, thin and crispy with a bubbly crust. Okay, now we want to start putting our toppings on. I've just got a normal tomato base. You know, you can roast your own tomatoes and peppers and make your own version, blitz them with a hand blender, but this is just a really simple shop bought version, and I've just cut it with also a little bit of passata and a little bit of tomato puree. Purists out there will go, what the hell are you doing? Like I say, it's not a traditional Italian recipe, but I'm just going to pop it on there.
You're making a really nice, tasty pizza in an easy way.
In an easy way, that's exactly what we're doing. It's easy. And when you've got loads of friends around, you don't want to make it complicated. And that's it, we just want to move that sauce. Don't drown it in sauce. The biggest temptation is just to drown it in too much sauce. Don't do that, you won't get a nice crispy base. And don't put too many toppings on, that's the other temptation. So we're just going to put a few little things on here now, and we'll come back to it and I'll show you it going into the oven. So I'm going to add some toppings to this now. Like I was saying, don't drown it with too many toppings because you'll get a lot of oil and grease and water. It won't evaporate off and it will become a very sloppy, soggy pizza. So just go sparingly. You know, it's always a temptation to overload it. So I'm just going to do a little bit of grated cheddar just to sort of tantalise the base. And then we're going to go with some diced mozzarella. So this is the cheaper kind of harder mozzarella. It's a bit more rubbery and it works better on pizza. When you get the fresh buffalo mozzarella, it's actually really wet, and in restaurants they actually strain it and let all the water come out in the fridge overnight. So if you haven't got time, get the cheaper block mozzarella and just cut it up. It actually is much better for doing pizzas with, just as a quick hack, and it tastes just as good. Okay, and then we're going to put some meats on. Just a few little bits of salami, whatever you fancy really. We've got just one of those little selection packs here. I'm just putting a few different ones on there. Finish it up with some prosciutto. Ooh.
That looks beautiful. Don't put anything green.
And then just a little bit of fresh basil, because why not? This looks nice. So now, next bit's quite hard, and I'm not an expert at this again, is getting it onto the pizza peel. So you just sort of got to try and be a bit confident and just go for it. And you can stretch it out if you need to on there. But that's ready to go into the oven. Okay. Tuck in, mate. That's your bit, mate. So the next stage, earlier on you'd have seen, I'm not going to clap my hands. Yep, clapped previously on Sumo Outdoor. We've had a beer. That's an update.
Yeah. That was probably quite obvious.
Bad idea. We all want to go sleep now, and that's it. So, okay.